Hello again and welcome to another edition of Suds and Country. Hi, I'm Herb Sudson. Welcome to the show, my friends. On this show, I'm very happy to say I have rose-colored recording artist John Conlee.
Hello.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Great, thank you.
I've been playing your music since 1977?
78, probably. That's when we first had it. We started recording in 76, and that's when we had first released records. So it's not impossible that you would have hit 77, but Rose-Colored Glasses didn't hit until 1978.
Well, I played it.
That's when it got to be full-time.
I was one of the first ones that probably had it.
Bless your
The
heart.
name John Conlee, legend, Grand Ole Opry member for a lot of us traditional music folks.
Right.
From the 70s and 80s into the 90s.
Coming up on a 25-year membership. Next winter will be 25 years as a member of the Opry. Hard to believe.
Boy, that's something, ain't it?
It is.
That,
great.
Just while we're talking about that, that had to be an honor. Probably one of the highlights of your career.
Oh yeah, I do always list it as a highlight. The thing I'm most proud of is all the hits we've had. That was why I got into this, having those hit records and being able to record so long. But a definite highlight is my association with the Grand Ole Opry. It'll celebrate its 80th birthday this year later. And there's no reason why it can't go on for 180 more, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you. When you were inducted into the Opry, who introduced you?
Well, my first guest appearance, I was introduced by Jim Ed Brown, but the actual induction was Porter Wagner.
Oh.
And I had failed to remember that for a while. For a long time, I got to thinking that it was Roy Acuff, but it was Porter. We looked it up, and it was Porter Wagner.
God bless you. Thank you. That's everybody dreams of being the Opry member, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody's involved.
The Opry is the mother church of country music, and it still is. Yeah.
Let's talk about your new gospel album. It's a spiritual Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus.
Right.
On your own record label.
Own record label.
There you go.
It's our second release on Rose-Colored Records. The first thing we did was we put together our greatest hits and re-released it. It's called John Conlee Classics. And that's been out a couple of years now. And then last year, we put together this first ever gospel project. It's mostly the old songs like Amazing Grace and the Old Rugged Cross that we all were raised with. But it does have 4 new gospel songs on it. And 1 patriotic song, which is our current single.
Okay, They Also Serve is the name of that song. Why did you put a patriotic on with a gospel album?
Well, I'll tell you, what we did when I got the idea to do the gospel thing, or looked like it was going to happen, I knew I was going to do the old songs, but I wanted to find out if there were any new gospel songs out there. Turns out there were several. And while we were at it, since we were at war, I said, let me just find out what kind of patriotic songs might be available. I put the word out. They pitched me a number of them. Different people did. This one just really stood out. And I frankly didn't want to wait for the next regular album to put it out. I wanted to get it out there. And so we included it on the gospel project.
Now that has a personal meaning to you. Let's talk about, you know.
It does now. Yeah, when I found the song, They Also Serve, which talks about the sacrifice of family members, people who have someone serving, and the fact that they're waiting by the phone, especially if their loved one is in harm's way.
Sure.
And but when I found the song, my son, my youngest child, was still in high school. Hadn't graduated yet. And by the time the summer was over, he had indeed graduated. He joined the Marine Corps, and he'll be going to Iraq this fall. So now my family relates directly to what the song's talking about.
I'm going to tell you, I saw the video. We put it in another show.
Right.
Say something about shooting that video, where you shot it at, and before we show it.
Well, we did a lot of it, all the military scenes at Fort Campbell with the Bastogne Brigade of the 101st Airborne Division. And all of the people except maybe a couple of folks, there are only a couple of people who are actors. The rest are associated with the military or full-time military. And then we've got all major branches represented through the video with pictures and so forth.
How long did it take to shoot that?
Oh, it was a work for a couple of days as far as actual shooting, and then the editing process takes even longer, of course.
Of course.
Right.
Gospel music is one of the fastest growing genres of music in the country today. Christian music, as we can call it too, I guess.
Oh yeah, and that's wonderful. The first music I was ever exposed to in my life was at my home church in Versailles, Kentucky, singing out of the hymn book, sitting with my folks and my grandparents and so forth. And so, you know, I've been in love with that music for all of my life, and had wanted to do this gospel project for all of my career in music. Wasn't able to work it out until I got my own label, and then that allowed us to do it. But when I was making the list of songs, of the old songs to include, I ended up with a very long list. So if folks like this first volume, maybe we'll be able to do subsequent editions of it. I hope so. Yeah.
Now to promote that album, that JohnConlee.com will get it?
JohnConlee.com is how you get that album, the classic CD.
Okay.
It's also how you find out when we're going to be near you as far as on tour. We still do 65, 70 shows a year on the road. So most likely over the course of a few months, we'll be somewhere nearby.
Now, where did you travel? Where's the farthest you ever traveled to do a show? Out of the country?
Yeah, Germany, I guess. We did a TV show years ago over there. In the dead of winter.
Wow.
I remember it was January and ice on the streets and so forth. That's probably the very farthest. We've done several cruises that have taken us mostly south, and been to Mexico. We've been several places.
Where in the continental United States is John Conlee music the best received?
I'd have to say the Southwest, Texas particularly. We're in Texas on average once a month.
Okay.
And, you know, they just, country's always cool in that part of the country.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
We just saw the video. You're not a video person. How many videos have you had out? Fellow Traveler and what else?
Fellow Travelers, we did our own little version before videos were videos on Miss Emily's Picture. We did one on Hopelessly Yours. We've done a handful, but I've never been a big, giant fan of them. I know that people like them, and so with the patriotic song, we wanted to do everything we could to help it along, and so and I'm glad we did it. But as a general rule, I'm more of an audio guy than I'm a video guy.
You go back to the DJ days.
Exactly.
You got it.
I like theater of the mind, and videos, if you're not careful, can influence the way people see a song.
Big time.
And you know, so I just like the audio part.
Do videos sell songs?
I think they do, yeah. And they also help with establishing new artists. People, when somebody new comes on the scene with a video, you're able to see what they look like and put a name with a face. That's one of the things when I started that took so long to establish, is the name with the voice with the face, and the videos help that a lot.
You got the voice.
Well,
you got a different voice than everybody else.
I've been blessed to have a distinctive sound, and that's another thing I miss in some of the newer people coming along.
I know.
We don't have that we don't have there's been you know, a lack of priority with sound and song, and because of videos. That's another fault. If you're going to have faults of videos, that's one of them. And I just think that, you know, it would be great if the industry would still look for that sound, do it with a great song, and then just take a picture of it.
I think you're talking business now. I agree with you.
Right.
Hey, rose-colored glasses. That's, you know, we're going to consider that your signature song?
It is.
All right.
It's a standard in music, and it's the one they throw tomatoes at me in if I try to leave it out, you know. So. That
kicked your career into high gear, into overdrive, didn't it?
It got me signed. So many firsts. I helped write the song.
Okay,
and,
sure.
But it got me the first recording contract and became our first national hit record.
What was your musical career like before rose-colored glasses?
Oh, it wasn't there. It was a hobby before rose-colored glasses.
I read that.
I was still working in radio in Nashville, and had been there 7 years, and we started recording in '76. Those first 2 years, I kept the day job because we didn't have a hit until Glasses came out. Rose-colored glasses became that first hit, and only then did I leave radio.
Well, how far up the charts did rose-colored glasses go?
It stopped at 7.
Wow.
On the national charts, and I love the story because it just underlines how unimportant the numbers can be.
Sure.
It's still the most popular thing I've ever done, but in order to have a national #1 record, you got to have all markets at the same time going up their charts. And rose-colored glasses started in the Southwest, and by the time it got up their charts, it was just starting in the next region, and it bicycled itself all around the country. Stayed on the charts forever, but you know, again, you can't have a #1 record nationally unless they all go at once. Now, the follow-up song, Lady Lay Down, everybody started playing it at once, and it was our first #1.
We just saw you perform here. Pick a song that we saw you perform, because we're going to play it right now.
Okay, let's do Common Man.
Everybody like that. Talk about Common Man a little bit. Who wrote it, and how you come about
Sammy
that?
Johns is the writer. He had a song called America, and Chevy Van that he was both the artist and writer of. But this one just was autobiographical in a lot of ways, and for me, Common Man was, and I relate to it still.
I read where you have 19 albums out. What's the common thread between all those 9? Is there a common thread between each album, or is it a common thread between all the albums?
You know, a lot of people say that, you know, I'm sort of the working man singer in a way, because I've had several songs to talk about that. Friday Night Blues, Working Man, Common Man, all apply. But we never set out to do a particular theme. In every album, when we put out the word we were looking for songs, the first question you're asked by writers and publishers is, what are you looking for? Well, we were always and still are looking for great songs. Don't care what the subject is particularly. And it just turns out that many of those that I related to the most dealt with that subject. But I think there's a pretty good diversity amongst all of our albums as far as subject matter is concerned. And we just tried to find the best songs we could do, not put any fluff on any of the albums. That's
How many chart toppers have you had?
You know, again, the numbers are so unimportant to me. We've had 30 hits, and most of them have been top 10, if not number 1. So that's, you know, that's close enough for me.
Yeah, Lady Laid Down was your first one, huh?
First number 1 now, nationally.
How did it feel to have the first number 1?
It's sure, it's a thrill. It's icing on the cake. But again, you know, Rose-Colored Glasses is still the most popular and stopped at 7. So if you want me to trade between that number 7 and any of the number 1s, I'll take the number 7.
Lucky 7. There you go, Lucky 7.
There you got it.
I read also you had 4 number 1s in a row.
Probably so.
Probably,
yeah. That's never been a focus for me.
Your career and popularity helped you organize Family Farm Defense.
We were involved in the whole Farm Aid effort early on, before Farm Aid occurred.
Right.
And we did our own concert to do exactly what Farm Aid came along later to do. We've been a part of many of the Farm Aids, and we still talk about it. I still operate a family farm in both Kentucky and Tennessee, so it's a hands-on thing with me, not just a sentimental pie-in-the-sky thing. And I'm convinced, and I think when we see things about the environmental issues and disease and livestock, it's a great argument for keeping that family farm system as opposed to going the corporate structure that we're going. I mean, we're going that way. Not a good idea.
What's the future of Farm Aid, and when do you think they're going to put another Farm Aid in?
Well, this year, 20th anniversary is coming up in, I think, September, probably back in Illinois, I think is what I read. And so, you know, it's been around now since '85, and so we're still talking about it. We're winning some battles, but losing the war, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Has anybody ever recut or re-recorded any of your hits that you know
of? Not that I know of. In fact, I did a duet with a young guy who was trying to get something going with Rose-Colored Glasses a couple of years ago, but so far he hasn't managed to do it. But it's about time for a lot of those to be probably taken another look at by some of the current crop, and that'd be great. You know, they're great songs. Sure, they need to be heard.
Without a doubt. You look what they did for you. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the bulk of your popularity was in the '70s, '80s. How has country music changed since?
Well, again, a lack of focus, I think, on distinctive sound and great songs in a lot of ways. A lot of the songs are more feel things than they are, you know, something with a beat or whatever, as opposed to having the messages that maybe they used to. And I miss that a little bit, and so do I think some of the fans. But everything is cyclic. It always comes back around, and I can't wait for that next wave of, let's call it higher quality to come around. I hope that happens.
Being a farmer, before you were a farmer and then an entertainer.
Right. Now,
what did you take from being a farmer into the entertainment business that you can capitalize on?
Well, I think my beginnings with life on the farm, you learn immediately about nature and its ways. And I think you can apply that to anything you do, whether it's entertainment or you know, working in a factory or whatever. I mean, it gives you a look at reality that you can't get any other way. You can't get it living in town. I'm sorry, you can't do it.
No.
And working with nature and dealing with nature. I mean, that's what we're down here. That's all part of the classroom we're down here for, I think.
Been there and done it, John.
Exactly.
I'm with you on that one, pal.
Right.
You have a very distinctive voice. The DJs hardly even have to announce who's singing that song.
It's a blessing. That's and nothing I did consciously. I credit radio with having a lot to do with the way I sound when I sing.
Okay.
Because tapes of my singing prior to radio was a very different sound, very soft folk sound.
Yeah.
But using my voice to speak influenced inadvertently the way that I ended up phrasing and singing, and it's given me the sound I have. I didn't set about to create a sound, but it was created for me.
You hardly hear that anymore. Johnny Cash had a distinctive sound. Ernest Tubb had a distinctive
George
sound.
Jones, Merle Haggard, Lefty Frizzell. And that's when I say distinctive sound, that's what I mean, that I'm not hearing you know, I don't know who those new George Joneses are that are coming along. I don't hear that.
I don't hear that either. I don't hear that either.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap up the show. John, thank you very much.
Thank you. My
Appreciate
pleasure.
the hospitality.
My pleasure.
Here's John Conlee taking us out right now in Southern Country.